To begin their summer holidays on the 30th of June. No more summer half-days. Two members of the all-party parliamentary group in Gibraltar to talk to locals about the treaty. And the subject of Gibraltar's wastewater management is raised in UK Parliament. Good evening, thanks for joining us. School pupils will begin their summer holidays on the 30th of June. This has been brought forward from the 10th of July. The government has announced changes to Gibraltar's school calendar, which will see an end to summer term half-days, following months of uncertainty. As from next school year, a summer midterm break will also be introduced, as well as a 2-week Easter holiday period.
Following the shake-up, children will now attend school on full days for the rest of the current term. Previously, the latter part of June has been half-days. After the summer break, September half-days will remain in place until National Day. GBC understands the changes to the school calendar will reduce the total number of working days for teachers from 191 to 177. While this hasn't officially been confirmed by government yet, if this figure is correct, the reduction equates to almost 3 school weeks. Over in the UK, state school teachers work 195 days per academic year. This includes 5 training days. Pupils there attend school for 190 days, with school holidays totalling around 13 weeks. The government says discussions are ongoing with relevant unions regarding some staff groups, with further details expected once those talks conclude.
I think it's a really good idea for parents, especially working parents that have got childcare issues to sort out. It will help. I think a longer summer is going to be a bit tougher as well, though, because, again, there is childcare issues there.
To be honest, it's neither here or there for me. I've got my little one that I need to look after anyway, so I'll look after the other one as well, so... yeah.
I think that for most of the working mothers, I think it's going to be better because obviously you're not going to have your day sort of cut short where you'll have to maybe leave or ask, work to leave earlier. So I think that extension maybe of the full days, I think it would be a lot better, to be honest. I think they can enjoy the beach more and I think it's less stressful.
I know that my daughter, who lives here and has a child in the school, felt that there should have been more consultation and more, just a little bit more time to get used to the idea and to arrange childcare.
Processing, I think. I work full time, just don't normally get to do the pickup, so this is a nice day. We'll just have to work around it. It is what it is.
It's a lot of breaks, I think, from coming from a parent with 2 young kids. The half days near the summer term, I'm not too bothered about. I think half days they don't normally do. Coming from the kids, and I'm not sure they're up to much. I just find it weird that there's an extra week in the summer term and another extra week at Easter, but I suppose we've got to adapt to what's been handed out. So,
as a family, we've got to get our head around it with childcare and things like that. So it's a bit of an issue for us. Basically, and obviously, it'd be great if this decision was made a little bit earlier. Would have been more helpful for us.
I don't know, it's good, but as well now the schools have aircon and stuff like that, so it's better than when I was in school.
The wife doesn't work, so but I do feel sorry for the more Bayside and Westside because they don't have enough weeks throughout the year to fit in all the subjects that they need to fit in.
My initial reaction is I'm quite surprised that there's a new component thrown into the mix, which is this midterm that, as far as I'm aware, wasn't on the table as part of the discussions, and the fact that this will then reduce the academic year substantially, not in line with the UK, but substantially less. So for me, as a working parent, of course that means I now need to figure out 3 more weeks of childcare, as if it wasn't difficult enough. And I don't know how we're going to do that. Annual leave does not map on to the school term. It didn't map on before. Now we're in an even more precarious position. Not everybody has family support networks. Not everybody can step out of work. Not everyone can work flexibly. And I think, if this is going to be the case, then there needs to be a solution in tandem offered by the government or the Department of Education. And I know that they say childcare is not their responsibility, but unfortunately as a society we're working collectively and it needs to be considered in parallel.
GBC has reached out to the government and other relevant stakeholders with additional questions and interview requests. Reacting to the news, Unite the Union says it will ballot its members over what it calls these proposed changes following its own consultation with staff across different schools. The union says it has already put forward concerns and alternative suggestions to the government during the consultation process, and while some of these have been resolved, other issues remain outstanding. It also argues the timetable for introducing the changes feels too rushed, saying a delay until next summer would have allowed the plans to be properly worked through. Unite says it will now complete its consultation with members before the ballot takes place in the coming weeks. In other news, 2 members of the all-party parliamentary group on Gibraltar spoke to GBC today after arriving on the Rock to talk to people on the ground about the treaty. Baroness Elizabeth Butler-Schloss and Martin Vickers, the APPG's vice-chairman, met the Chief Minister, the Governor and the Commander British Forces. They were also given a tour of the airport and took the opportunity to walk along Main Street in order to speak to traders about the transaction tax. Both agreed there was strong cross-party support for the treaty in the UK Parliament.
Well, Martin Vickers, MP, and I both will hope to speak on the treaty in both Houses of Parliament. I'm a member of the House of Lords, an independent member, and what we want to find out is what everybody in Gibraltar thinks about the treaty, so that we can go back and give an informed speech in each House about how the treaty is viewed in Gibraltar.
Now, you've had a very busy day of meetings. Can you give us a flavour of what you've learnt so far?
I think we've learnt that the treaty provides a considerable degree of certainty. The security of Gibraltar is protected. What matters enormously, of course, both to the United Kingdom and Gibraltar, is that the sovereignty both of Gibraltar and the sovereignty of the British base are protected. And the sovereignty of Gibraltar is in the treaty, but the sovereignty of the UK base, the British base, is not in the treaty and is not affected in any way by it. We went to see the head of the British forces today with some of his team, where they were explaining to us how they saw the importance of Gibraltar. One of the aspects of the Straits of Hormuz is it suddenly makes us all realize there are choke points around the world. And one of the major choke points is Gibraltar. It's at the pivotal top of the Mediterranean, between the Mediterranean and the Atlantic. And one of the questions I was asking the Chief of Staff here was to what extent did he think the Ministry of Defence and indeed the British forces in Gibraltar really saw the importance of Gibraltar. And I was absolutely satisfied. They recognise how enormous the importance is. They're taking very sensible steps to deal with it. We've recently had British ships in. There's a British ship in at the moment. But perhaps more important, an American ballistic missile submarine was here 2 or 3 days ago, that means that the Americans recognize the significance of Gibraltar as somewhere they can come to safely and, get their troops can come and have fish and chips and things like that and move on. As far as I can see, the treaty is going to give a degree of certainty. It retains your sovereignty. It's not going to adversely affect your security. You are going to have to rethink security, which is one of the questions I'm going to ask the Commissioner of Police, because you will have an open border. I think it's all good for Gibraltar. And one of the brilliant things is not only the whole of Gibraltar, all parties approve it, but every party in the United Kingdom is behind it, and always has been.
The retail sector, as we know, is facing enormous challenges, basically from online shopping and the like. And therefore they foresee the transaction taxes, small though it may be, as just another niggling thing that's perhaps going to cause them, I won't say major problems, but it's a little niggle that they've got. Well, clearly we've got to regularise the situation. It's now 10 years since the EU referendum. There had to be a regularising of arrangements between ourselves and the EU. And this is, if we can ensure that it goes through and that any concerns are addressed, then I think it's clearly a step forward. You know, what we want, we all want Gibraltar to thrive. The tourist trade, for example, is absolutely crucial here, as are financial services and so on. And I'm confident that Gibraltar will have a bright future.
The Supreme Court has made a sexual offences prevention order against Richard Vallarino, who was sentenced earlier this month to 12 years in prison for rape and other domestic abuse offences. The Crown applied for the order, arguing it was necessary to protect the complainant and provide an additional safety net. The court heard concerns that the complainant remained vulnerable to Vallarino, with the Crown saying any contact could place her at further risk. The application was not contested. The order prevents Vallarino from having direct or indirect contact with the complainant, and upon his release from prison he must remain more than 20 metres away from her. Puisne Judge Liam Yates granted the application, saying the measures were narrow, specific to the complainant and proportionate. A question on the subject of Gibraltar's wastewater management has been raised in the UK Parliament. The issue of sewage and wastewater treatment continues to attract political and environmental attention following a recent piece in The Guardian.
Labour MP Adam Joji asked the Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs what discussions had taken place with the Government of Gibraltar regarding the processing of raw sewage on the Rock. In response, Parliamentary Under-Secretary for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, Emma Hardy, said ministers meet regularly with the Government of Gibraltar to discuss a range of environmental matters, including wastewater management.
Customs has seized nearly 500 tonne of cocaine during two separate operations in local waters, with a combined estimated street value of £25 million. The drugs were discovered hidden in the sea chest areas of two bulk carriers, the Amaris and the Chao Tianmen, both of which had entered Gibraltar's waters to take on fuel. Local diving companies conducting routine hull inspections identified the suspicious packages and alerted customs, whose specialist divers recovered the concealed drugs. Investigators found no evidence that any crew members were involved, and no indication the drugs were destined for Gibraltar. Chief Minister Fabian Picardo congratulated customs and the diving companies involved, saying their vigilance was something Gibraltar should be proud of. You're watching GBC News. Still to come, the Fashion Collective is now in its third year. The theme for this year's show is Rebirth Begins at Home. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Some things are too precious to leave to chance. At JT Security, we understand the value of discretion. With 24-hour surveillance, our graded safe deposit boxes offer you complete security and privacy. Furthermore, our competitive rates make it the most affordable in Gibraltar. JT Security, your valuables, our guarantee.
If you're looking for the perfect spot to enjoy breakfast, lunch or dinner, make your way to Bianca's Bar and Restaurant down at Marina Bay, where we've been serving great food since 1979. Our tempting menu and daily specials are available for dining in or takeaway. Relax and watch the world go by at Bianca's Marina Bay, the happiest place out of town.
Welcome to Cepsa Gibraltar, your one-stop station for every journey. Refuel fast, recharge your EV and drive cleaner with our AdBlue service. Step inside Carrefour Express for fresh food, drinks and daily essentials. From road trips to quick stops, we've got everything you need, all in one place. Cepsa Gibraltar, powering your drive every day.
Our world runs on momentum. From the first light over the rock to the plans we make for the days ahead, each moment carries us forward. For 150 years, Capurro Insurance has moved with that energy. Rooted in Gibraltar, reaching the wider world, built on the past, and looking to the future, wherever momentum takes you next. Capurro Insurance will be by your side, every step of the way.
Welcome back. A panel of Spanish diplomats and legal academics in Algeciras has raised concerns over the proposed Gibraltar Treaty, warning it could weaken Spain's position on sovereignty, border controls and environmental protections. The discussion, titled El Acuerdo de Gibraltar en Clave Jurídica, was held at the Paco de Lucía Interpretation Centre and organised by Europa Sur, the Spanish Diplomacy Academy and the Campo de Gibraltar branch of the Spanish Distance Learning University Network.
The event brought together several prominent Spanish voices on Gibraltar, including former Ambassador José Antonio de Iturriaga, a veteran diplomat who represented Spain at the UN and in Moscow, and University of Cádiz professor Jesús Verdú, who specialises in international law and cross-border environmental issues affecting the Bay of Gibraltar. Speakers criticised the Spanish government's handling of post-Brexit negotiations with the UK and the European Union, with some arguing Madrid had failed to maximise its leverage during the talks. Others questioned the treaty's legal structure, particularly proposed Schengen arrangements and the powers of future joint coordination bodies. Environmental concerns linked to bunkering, wastewater and land reclamation also featured heavily in the discussion. One academic summed up the scepticism in the room by saying the frontier may become more fluid, but that it will not disappear, arguing that although routine checks at the land frontier would end, the treaty still allows border controls to be temporarily reintroduced in security, public health or emergency situations.
The Environmental Safety Group has welcomed the arrival of Gibraltar's first 3 fully electric buses, describing it as a major step towards cleaner public transport. The group says it hopes the move will lead to the fast rollout of all zones being replaced with the clean emission vehicles. Members of the ESG were given a tour of the bus depot and travelled on one of the new electric buses along the Upper Town route. They described the ride as extremely comfortable and said the absence of curbside emissions was an important benefit for public health and safety. They were told the Upper Town electric buses are expected to be operating by the 1st of September. A spokesperson said the group hopes this signals a genuine commitment to greener public transport and to meeting Gibraltar's climate targets. The Fashion Collective was born 3 years ago now with a recycled fashion challenge and became a cultural organisation last year. This week they put together Maison Renaissance, bringing together fashion, creativity and craftsmanship with a focus on sustainability. The theme this year, Rebirth begins at home.
The Fashion Collective encourages designers to take part in an annual fashion challenge that we put out. Maisons Renaissance, I think, was kind of born maybe, I want to say, end of September, October. The committee came up with the theme, Rebirth begins at home, so encouraging that sustainability. And we encourage designers at all levels, at all stages, to come on board and showcase fashion is art and that creativity. So there's 13 designers, diversity ranging from as young as 10, and each of them have created between 1 and 3 pieces.
Well, this year we started off with creating a mood board, which was something new that we added to the whole collaboration, and that worked very well. We had youngsters and experienced students working together, and that was fine. The problem really came is when they actually had to make these, and there was advanced students and very young students, inexperienced, and it was a bit difficult, but I think that we got it together, and I've seen some photos, so they're really amazing.
Loreto Convent School has a new science lab, sponsored by the Kishin Alwani Foundation. The new facility was opened by the school's patron, former Governor Sir David Steele. Alongside Mr. Alwani, the Bishop of Gibraltar also gave a traditional blessing as part of the opening ceremony. Back in 2024, the school launched the Future Loreto project, aiming to raise funds for the restoration and renovation of the older school buildings. Identifying the importance of science education, the Kishin Alwani Foundation supported the much-needed upgrade to the science lab. And over to sports, the local futsal season reaches its conclusion and a domestic double in basketball. Robin has all the latest.
Basketball last night at the Tercentenary Hall. Europa Valmar are league champions again. They beat Bavaria Blue Stars to claim a domestic double, adding to their cup triumph earlier this season. Last night, James Taylor and Pablo Crespo beat Jeremy Poggio and Dylan Casiaro in straight sets, 6-love, 7-6 in the final of the Sandpits Paddle Open. Inter-school athletics up at Lathbury yesterday, plenty of young talent on display. Bayside, the overall winners, shrugging off stiff competition from Westside and Prior Park. The domestic futsal season comes to a close tomorrow. Europa and Lynx go head-to-head one last time in the playoff final. The winner will represent Gibraltar in next season's UEFA Champions League qualifiers. Europa Point's the place to be. And the Gibraltar Target Shooting Championship begins bright and early tomorrow morning. The annual competition attracts some of the very best shooters from the UK. So, how will our competitors fare?
And some breaking news this evening. Gibraltar's Commonwealth Games squad has been announced. 16 athletes will represent the Rock in Glasgow this summer. The Games were originally scheduled for Victoria over in Australia, but faced cancellation before Glasgow stepped in with a condensed programme. That means Gibraltar won't be competing in some familiar events. No triathlon, no cycling, no shooting. But the shortened schedule has opened the door to 2 new sports, with athletes competing in judo and boxing for the first time, alongside swimming and athletics. Most of the squad will be making their Games debut. 13 of the 16 will be travelling with Team Gibraltar for the first time. There will be some familiar faces in the pool. Asia Kent heads to her second Games, Jordan Gonzalez to his third, and Jim Sanderson, the veteran of the group, will be travelling for his fourth. The Games run from the 23rd of July to the 2nd of August. We'll bring you more information on the squad next week and plenty of coverage in the build-up to the Games. And that's all from tonight's news. More online, more on our socials, as well as on our Radio Gibraltar news summaries every hour on the hour. It's from 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. From the team, from myself, thanks for watching. Have a great Friday and enjoy the long weekends. Good night.
Looking for insurance that covers every part of your life? From your car, home and motorbike to your health, pets, boat and travel, we've got it all covered. We make insurance simple, clear and tailored to you. Visit us at 68 Irish Town, Monday to Friday 9 to 5:30 or Saturdays 10 till 2. Call 200 44628 or email gibraltar@ibexinsure.com. Ibex Insurance, making life easier.
Hello, very good evening to you. Plenty more fine weather to come through the weekend. Lots of sunshine and it's going to feel very warm indeed. Looking at the bigger picture in this, quite a slack flow around us at the moment. There are some frontal systems further north and towards more eastern parts of Europe, some unsettled weather around, but around the Strait, around Gibraltar, it's a generally slack flow. Just a bit of an easterly wind, a Levanta coming in, and that will bring a bit of cloud at times, but on the whole, it's looking largely fine. Worth bearing in mind there's some low cloud around some coastal parts of Morocco. There could be a bit of sea fog perhaps, but generally it's looking largely clear and there's not a huge amount of rain nearby either. So plenty of sunshine through tomorrow, and as I mentioned, in that sunshine it's going to feel very warm indeed. Temperatures a fair few degrees above average for the time of year. We're looking at highs of around 24 Celsius, and the winds coming in from the east, they're not going to be particularly strong either. There may be a bit of low-level cloud through the morning, but that will burn away quite quickly, and there may be some haziness to the sunshine, but generally we're looking at blue skies. By Sunday, perhaps a bit more haziness around, could even be a bit of dust in the air, but I think that's perhaps a bit more likely further west than Gibraltar, and the fine weather is going to continue through into next week. Temperatures staying above average for the time of year, staying in the mid-20s Celsius, so feeling very warm indeed with that sunshine as well. Bye-bye.
Ends, yes, the powder room is back, and it's very soon, as from Monday the 1st of June, tackling all of those burning issues that affect all of us in our community. The powder room back as from the 1st of June, Mondays at 9:05 here live at the GBC studios.